You've got to be cruel to be kind, according to Hamlet, but also according to Dina, who might be talking to some guy named Stuart from the past. We've also got Lola's pregnancy scare and some really heartbreaking scenes with Connor. So stay tuned for this week's Restless Wrap.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AFTERBUZZ TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey everybody, I'm Rachel Goodman here with another week of Restless Wrap. It is actually just me today, so I'm going to be going through everything. Stay tuned through to the end because we are definitely going to be taking calls. We're going to have our lull moment where we decide on the funniest moments of this week from The Young and the Restless. And at the very end, I will go over my predictions and definitely want to get your predictions as well. So for everybody in the chat, I will be relying on you today, my amazing co-hosts. You guys always come through for me, especially when it's just me doing a show by myself. Right now we've got Mary and Doolaman in the chat, so thank you guys for joining. I'm going to go over one segment first and dive right in, then we're going to take calls after that. So let's just kind of talk about everything with Connor. And I know a lot of people might want to talk about this too, so feel free when we do open the lines, we can talk about it. But Connor, so at the beginning of this week, we had some really, really heartbreaking scenes as we kind of watched him go through all these very understandable moments when he is just acting out, doing things that we wouldn't ordinarily see Connor do. He was around, we've seen him since he was a little kid. We've seen him the way that he was with Christian, how close they were. Everything's changing now. And it all stems from the fact that Adam is no longer in the picture. Adam has left Connor, and Connor is so confused. He idolized his father, and now I feel like we're getting a repeat of everything that happened with Adam and Victor, except in a kind of slightly different circumstance because Adam has literally just left town and, left Connor there and told him, I'm leaving, goodbye. And we don't really know if Adam's coming back yet. It looks like everybody's trying to make that happen. At the beginning of the week, Sharon was trying to talk to Connor, and he finally opened up a little bit more about the whole situation with Adam and Victor. And this is where we really see a change in Connor. He starts saying, everybody is a liar. I trust nobody. And this little boy, his eyes, I have to commend the actor for the way that he's portraying Connor. The eyes, it is like when you see like in not just television, but television, movies, animation, when you see younger characters and you see that they've been through hell, you can see it in their eyes. And yes, it's true. The eyes are the window to the soul, because when I was watching this little boy, his eyes, he looked, and I don't mean, there's no other way to say this. He looked dead. That's the level, and that's like a testament to the performance, because Connor looked like he was about to go down a very dark path. Mary says, if Chelsea is so worried about Connor, she should get him serious help. And Mary, he is awesome. Yeah, the acting is incredible. I agree about Chelsea. I think that some of the behaviors that Connor's now exhibiting, he's getting into physical fights with people at school and starting it. We also know that he literally locked Christian in the garage. Poor Christian. I feel so bad for him. That was heartbreaking in itself, just to watch that little boy, who was just locked in a garage crying because he didn't know he was stuck there. Like, how's he going to get out? And, but the whole thing is that Connor we can obviously see a very, very drastic change in him. And at this point, Chelsea does need to get him serious help. because he is just, I really don't think that Adam coming back is going to change this. I think that Connor's just heading down a bad path. I don't see anything fixing this. And I think that that's part of the concern from Chelsea. She sees him acting like Adam, and she's very concerned. And it's crazy because we know that biologically Christian is also Adam's son, and they're just, the way that they are acting is very, very different. But Connor, he never used to be like this. He used to be more like Christian and very, very like kind and sweet. So it's just crazy how much a child can change based upon their circumstances. But I don't think that Adam coming back into the picture is going to help. I think that Connor is just going to have a lot of growing. Unfortunately, he's been through some traumatic moments and a lot of changes that are going to deeply affect him for many years. Like it's hard to say if he'll be able to get over this so easily, especially because he's such a young kid, and this is happening during some very, very important years of his life. I think it's going to leave a heavy impact. And I'm just seeing, this is kind of getting into predictions territory, but I'm kind of seeing this as basically Connor. Like I can just see when they age him up eventually. I'm sure they won't do it like soon, but when they one day age him up, I see him being the next teen who is basically the bad boy. Because now we see that he's heading down this really dark path. We have a couple of comments. Mary, Nick will get hurt again with Chelsea. Yeah, we kind of heard, not this last week, but the week before, when Chelsea was telling Sharon she was thinking about running, which is pretty crazy considering she did this to Nick before. But yeah, I don't think it's going to go well for Nick in this case. And we know that Nick is we kind of left this week off with Nick going, saying he was going to go and grab Adam. Why is Chelsea not doing this? That's the problem I had with that scene. And I get it, like Nick's trying to be the hero. Why can't Chelsea go and try to grab Adam? Why does it have to be Nick? That's my big thing or why can't they go together? This is really, like, I get that. I understand Nick is stepping up and trying to be the man of the house and stepping up and just kind of like acting like, yes, Nick is part of this family unit with Chelsea and Connor and Christian. But there's no sense in Nick going by himself. To me, I didn't understand the logic in that. It felt a little. I get why they would do that because Nick has to face his brother, fine. But this is Chelsea's battle. This is about Connor, not Nick and Adam. Rhea True Love Forever says, I disagree. Adam will fix the problem. I think that's what they were trying to say. Maybe. I can't say that I don't agree with you for sure, but I just feel like there's going to be some deeply rooted issues now in Connor that won't ever get resolved. Kimmy Sylvester says, my mom was shocked that Connor locked Christian in the garage. Yeah. I was shocked too because we saw that happen right after Connor had a really nice moment with the whole entire family. They were having a game night. They were like, Chelsea was throwing popcorn everywhere. It seemed like, they were okay. They were going to be fine. And then Connor went and locked Christian in the, garage basement. I think it was the garage, but just crazy circumstances. And it kind of, they sort of foreshadow it with the fact that Connor was getting into fights at school, and it seemed like too easy of a fix. And it also kind of speaks to the nature of little kids and how when they're going through something, they might be okay one minute, but then the next they're going to act out. That's just the nature of a child and how someone's going to be when they've been put in this stressful situation. Rhea True Love Forever. I think the problem is that he's surrounded by liars and Adam is the only one who can understand it. J.A., hi everyone. Hi Rachel, loving the recap tonight. Well, thanks J.A. for being here. And if you have any comments, also we're going to be taking call-ins in a little bit, so definitely stay tuned for that. Rhea, true love forever. Nick is going after Adam because it's his fault why Adam left, so he's trying to play the hero. Yes, I do agree with you there. It's not like I get it. I get that Nick is more involved in why Adam left. I just felt like I think what bothered me is this idea that like I wanted to see, especially in Y&R, I wanted to see a female being the one to actually go and take care of this, considering it was her situation, instead of the man like trying to be the male hero and stepping up and trying to fix the problem. I just wanted to see Chelsea actually take some control and step up and handle it because it had to do with her son. And I know, like, Nick's trying to be kind of like a surrogate father to Connor in a way, but I still wanted to see Chelsea actually take some action. And yeah, Jay says, Rachel, you still do calls? And yeah, Mary says, yes, they're doing calls today. We are definitely doing calls. Mary, Chelsea is not doing squat to help her son. She claims to love. Yeah, that's the other thing. If, like, as a parent, when it gets to a point where your child is picking fights at school, locking his, I guess full brother, half brother into a garage, then it gets to a point where they actually need to do something more serious than just bringing Sharon in. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. It doesn't even make sense that Sharon would be involved at all. It's too personal. I think Sharon's doing a great job, but what real experience does she have? She got her degree, and then she went and started working for the police force. And yes, that is definitely experience, but what kind of experience, professional experience, does she have with children and like really, really helping in this kind of situation? And if they are going to have Sharon, it should sort of just be augmenting what is already, like, they should be getting more professional help from somebody who specializes in this kind of situation with children. And somebody who is not connected that closely with the family, who has that much of a history. I'm trying to figure out why they wanted Sharon to be there. We were talking about this last week, if there might have been a plot purpose, but it doesn't feel that way. It just kind of... the only thing I can think is that maybe they figured that Connor kind of knew Sharon, so it might help, but I don't know. I don't see it. He's opening up to her, but I don't think she was the best choice. Mary, it's Sharon and Nick doing it all, but Sharon has more of a connection with Connor than Chelsea. Rhea, true love forever. I agree with Rachel. Well, thank you. I think that now is a great time for me to make an announcement, since we have all of you amazing people in the chat with us right now. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. You're always here every single week, and it really helps the show. I know Farrah and I both love being able to interact with you all, and just everything that you kind of bring to the show. And I just wanted to let you know, too, that we have a lot. We have other channels here at AfterBuzz. So pretty much anything you watch, whether it's other soaps, if you watch sci-fi, if you watch drama, if you are into reality TV, we have it all at AfterBuzz. And it really helps us grow if you guys go and like and follow each of these channels. It helps us be able to do more and bring you more content. So if you could just go and like and follow, you can turn off the notifications if you don't want annoying pop-ups on your computer or phone, and just let us know. Let us know how we're doing. All your comments help and really support us. So thank you again for being, the best part of AfterBuzz, and for helping us grow, and for really being a part of our shows. It means so much, and you guys make us the ESPN of TV talk. Thank you. Speaking of talking, now's the moment when we should open up the lines for phone calls. So if anybody wants to call in, the number is 424-354-8302. If you're watching live, it is, let's see, the date's October 20th, 2019. It's about 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 East Coast. If you're listening live, we would love to have you guys call in. So one more time, that number is 424-354-8302. And it's also in the chat in case you missed that number. And let's see, Kimberly Howard says, Chelsea is stupid. Why would you have your son in a home where Nick hates his father? Yeah, that does make sense. And Mary says, we love you, Rachel. You do an awesome job. Thank you, Mary. I love that, all you guys show up every week, and it's amazing having you all here. And we have a call.
Caller. Hello, caller. This is Young and Restless After Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Kimberly from Maryland.
Hey, Kimberly. So I just kind of finished talking about Connor. Did you have any thoughts about the way that Chelsea's handling this?
Yes, Chelsea is a horrible mother.
Yeah.
Why would you be in a home with somebody who made your son believe that his grandfather was dead, which triggered all this stuff with Adam to leave? Nick is horrible. Nick shouldn't be around no kid.
I agree with you. And I think that's what they're not understanding. And they keep, this is what burns me the most about Chelsea and the way she's acting, is that what they're not understanding is that this little boy heard that first he lost his father, and Nick allowed Chelsea to tell Connor that Victor was dead. And he just let it happen. And so now this little boy, of course he's going to think everybody's a liar.
Yes, I don't understand that. And then she knows what happened with Adam, with Victor leaving him on that farm and never coming to see him and how he feels. Why would you then let that happen to your son? Yes, Adam played a part in this too. But at the end of the day, Chelsea, you make this worse because it's not like she doesn't have money to live by herself. You left Nick, and you were going to leave him for good until you found out Adam was alive and you came back to town. So therefore, you don't have this great love for Nick because you want to marry that old man. So you don't have this great love for Nick that you need to be in that home with Nick. It's just weird.
It is so weird. I feel like they got back together too quickly, and even the fact, we know that Chelsea's going to leave again at some point. It's bound to happen, and I feel like she's putting Connor in a place where she keeps moving him around, and she's hurting him very badly by doing this.
She's hurting him even more because he's living in the home with his brother that he doesn't even know that is his brother. That's just storyline is just so weird. They're always talking about honesty and truth, but when Adam wants to be honest and tell that boy that he is his father, they're all keeping the secret. And years, when it comes out later, and he wonders why Adam's been his dad, living in the same town, never reached out to him, let his uncle raise him, somehow it's all going to be put on Adam when everybody else played a role in this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. And, on the one hand, I think that it's very hard to, obviously Christian knows Nick as his father, and it would be really hard to have him suddenly move with Adam, but at the same time, they should be upfront with him and tell him the truth and tell him that Adam is biologically his father.
And that I don't even buy either, because that boy's been with so many different homes. He was with Sharon and Dylan. Then he was with, Sharon and Nick? Then he stayed with Victoria for a while. Then he was with Chelsea and Nick for a while. Then he was with Victor and Nikki for a while. That boy obviously can bounce back. You could have just set him to Adam.
Yeah.
That's just a stupid storyline.
I agree with you, definitely. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a great week.
And she's gone.
Awesome. So I think that we have, touched on everything with Connor. And it's probably a good time to move on and talk about Lola and Kyle. We had a pregnancy scare with Lola, and I am worried it's something a little bit more than just pregnancy based on the fact that they took a test. She is not pregnant. but she's having some crazy symptoms. We've seen, like, kind of at the top of the week, we kind of saw her, she was faint, she was feeling faint, she couldn't stand the sight of food, which does seem to say, okay, she might be pregnant. I am almost wondering if she is sick. And actually, oh, we have a caller.
We have a caller. This is Restless Rap. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hi. This is Al calling from New York.
Hey, how are ya?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. So I was just about to start talking about everything going on with Lola. Okay, so what do you make of the pregnancy scare?
The pregnancy scare. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Oh, okay. So basically, this whole week with Lola and Kyle, she's kind of been getting sick. But they took a test and found out it wasn't that she was pregnant. So now she's still having these symptoms, like she's actually, like, something is wrong. So I'm almost wondering if she has some kind of like something else is going on, and it has nothing to do with the baby.
Oh, wow. I missed a couple episodes. So that's why I'm loving. First off, I'm so grateful I could get a chance to call in because I love your recaps. It's so I like the way you pick out different things, and it's just great. But so you just telling me that right now, I'm sort of a little frightened because that's one of my favorite couples, and they don't really mess with nobody. They're very sweet and they have a good relationship. So of course, we got to have a little, holiday, tearjerker probably. Hopefully nobody dies, but we're going to have a little bit of, I guess sort of the Lily Kane, kind of thing that what they went through as far as, they love and
That's right.
Came together, they fell apart. And then they had to, fight against some mysterious, disease or something. So I feel like now this is what's probably happening with Lola and with Kyle. So I hope that it turns out well. But I hate to hear it happening to them.
So you mentioned that. Let me just ask you this: what were some of your favorite moments of the week?
Oh my gosh! You know what? I really did. I really liked the other call. I really was very frustrated, but I also liked the performance of Chelsea. I liked all her interactions this week. The performer, that she's a brilliant actress, and she's really playing the part pretty good. But I think it is controversial because, it's just I feel like they should give the actress a little more. She came back, and maybe they should just sort of wrap this up and put it to something a little better. But I did like the actress who plays, all that storyline there with Adam and everything like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of getting crazy too. Everything with Kane, which is kind of connected, just because we know. I'm still thinking that there's more of a connection between Chance and Adam than what we're being led to believe at the moment. Because we know that Adam dropped his name. And then,
what's so funny about that? It was so funny. I think that when they go into the past and they deal with the chancellors, it feels a little anticlimactic when you don't have, some of the staples. I mean, the people of the show are obviously the great. I mean, brilliant. Jeannie Cooper is gone because I feel like if she was around, this kind of storyline with Chance and all that would have been to the next level. It would have been out of the ballpark. But we do have the brilliant, the actress who plays Jill. We have her there, but they need to give her more because the history of the show does involve the character of Chance, and they need to really tap into that and not really be superficial with it. They need to go a little deeper because whenever Young Restless did these kind of mysterious, storylines when it came to the Chances, it was very gothic. It was very moody and creepy and mysterious, and they need to go a little deeper with that. And I hope that they do.
Yeah, and I agree with you absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling in. We really enjoy your thoughts.
Thank you. I was going to say one thing. I was going to ask you.
Sure.
I think I missed a couple episodes, but Phyllis, I'm so happy that Michelle Stafford is back. What the thing that I'm doing is I'm having issues because I had DirecTV. So what happened is I've been hoping and praying that they would put the Channel 2 back on, or CBS back on. So what I do is I catch it wherever I can on my phone or on YouTube. So that's why I'm a little putting the pieces together, and that's why I love your show. But with Phyllis, does she currently have a love interest, or does she have anything going on? Because I've not really been able to catch up with the character recently.
No love interest. There was someone posted on the Facebook Restless Rap page and suggested that maybe Kane and Phyllis should hook up. But right now, there's nobody that she's like actually, actively dating or interested in. She's sort of just involved with the whole Adam storyline at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. I mean, I'm trying to think that the brilliant actress who played her before, Gina, who did it before. I'm trying to think that when she was in a relationship with Nick. I think that's before they had the issue with DirecTV. She was just coming out of a relationship with Nick, and she was sort of floating around. And so I guess that Phyllis, the character, has been without a relationship for a little while, and that's pretty interesting for the character.
I think so too, and it's kind of a refreshing break. But thank you again. Thank you for calling in, and have a great week.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, so we've got some time left. Let's just talk. Let me jump in back in the chat and see if anyone else had comments. Rhea, true love forever. Thank God she wasn't pregnant. That would be viewer's worst nightmare. Kimberly Howard has a theory. Lola's body is rejecting the liver. Her dad or Theo is probably going to give her his. Ooh, that's interesting. Doolaman says, YNR is just not interesting to me right now. I need it to pick up. And then Jerry Jack says, Summer is such a stupidly... Okay, this is... Disclaimer, little mean comment. Summer is such a stupidly written blonde character. She'll agree to donate her one remaining liver to Lola. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at that comment. And then Jerry Jacks, if Jean Cooper were still alive, she would have nixed a lot of these dumb storylines. Mary, Lily is coming back this week. Yeah, and that was interesting. They had kind of mentioned, kind of dropped her name in the previews for next week. So let's move along, and then we'll get to our law moment. I just wanted to mention the storyline with Dina. I mentioned it in the introduction. That whole thing. So here was the thing. So obviously Jack and Tracy are writing a book about their family, and they found letters that Dina was writing and, got them, and they were reading them. And there's this name Stuart that Dina dropped. So they're reading these letters, and the end, basically Dina was breaking up a friendship she had with the Stuart guy when she went to college. And she signed the letter. This is the part I found interesting. She signed the letter with, I must be cruel only to be kind. Thus bad begins and worse remains behind. And Jack was shaking his head in confusion, I don't know what she means. So I went and I Googled the quote. It is from Hamlet. It is Hamlet speaking about his mother, which is interesting because we're not that Stuart and Dina are that kind of relationship, but Jack and Dina. But basically, the essence of the quote is that sometimes you have to do mean things, but to actually help somebody. So that makes me think that maybe Dina was breaking it off with Stuart because she didn't want to hurt him, and that, yes, she was being cruel, but the kindness is in the fact that she knew that if she kept on dragging it along, it would hurt him worse. So that's where I think it's going with her, ending it with that quote. Found it very interesting, though. And then I was very, just in terms of the mystery of what's going on with that, I want to know more. To me, that was one of the most, right at this moment, one of the more interesting plot lines because there's some mystery there. So aside from that, the only one other thing I wanted to mention is that with Ray and Sharon, we did get some kind of news from them. We got the news that Mia and Arturo, I'm not going to try to roll the R because I'm bad at it, Mia and Arturo ended up having their baby. So congratulations, Mia and Arturo, on your baby. And as Ray was talking about this with Sharon, he definitely asked her out again on a second date, and Sharon turned him down. Well, I mean, she had good reason. She turned him down because, yeah, exactly. Exactly. She turned him down because she said, well, I know how this can turn out and I just don't want to repeat. So they kind of had that conversation, and for now, there's nothing. And I kind of like that. I like when, and Farrah and I always talk about this, how it's nice when we see couples who are together and they're together long term with no problems. That's very nice. I think it's equally refreshing when there is a person who is not with anybody, because I think that there are people that I don't think that they have to be with a person that, yes, exactly. I don't think that that is what life's all about. And so sometimes it is. And if that floats someone's boat, then yes, that's amazing. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I think Sharon deciding to take a break for her own mental health, maybe, but also just to take a break in general, is a very healthy choice. On that note, I think it's time for our LOL moment. I had two this week. Okay, so we had Phyllis, who was, when she was trying to get info on Kane, because the only thing we saw with Kane is that he found the will, and that was it. So just wanted to throw that out there. But, or at least whoever knocked him out, brought him to wherever the will was and showed it to him. Phyllis is trying to contact him, and she's like, it's just hilarious in general that she keeps, like, the way that she was kind of changing her voice a little bit depending upon who she was pretending to be. But the law moment that actually made me laugh out loud is when Phyllis was talking to the phone as Jill, and she didn't even have to say who she was at first. It was the fact that she was talking in like a raspier like voice. I was like, okay, she was trying to be Jill. And then it was confirmed, and I was like, yes, thank you. That was hilarious. And just the way that Michelle Stafford was doing it, very, very comic. My other law moment was Adrian and Tracy as they're talking. And this is after, like, Adrian shows up with the black eye and Lola says goodbye and he leaves. But Tracy is talking to Adrian, and Adrian says, boy, I can't believe I'm talking to a published author. I always laugh anytime they bring up Tracy being an author, because I feel like they bring it up so much that it is just hilarious at this point. Yeah, it's just brought up every single time. And I get it. She's a published author, and that is amazing, and we should celebrate this. But they bring it up every single time they can bring it up, and it is just, I will never forget. If there's one thing I don't forget about Y&R, 50 years from now, I will remember forever that Tracy is a published author. That is my takeaway. Okay. On our final segment, let's get into our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
This time I'm going to start with a comment from the chat. Mary says, I would love to see Ray and Abby. So I'm going to start with that as our prediction. That would be interesting, especially since Abby is now single. So prediction number one, I don't think that Abby and Nate are going to get back together. I think they're really pushing it toward Nate and Elena. I'm just getting those vibes, especially with how close they're getting. Even though we saw Elena and Devon did have their moment, like a really nice date moment where Elena went out of her way and had like a special the jazz music playing that they were supposed to hear, and like it really went out of her way and picked his favorite foods that he'd only mentioned in passing. But I also kind of feel like Amanda and Nate might get together too. I feel like that might happen first, and then eventually it's going to be Devon and Amanda together again. And I say again because I'm still not convinced that she's not also Hillary somehow. My other prediction, I think that Nick will get Adam to come back to Genoa City. As I kind of said earlier, I think Connor's going to keep acting out. This is like a long-term prediction, and I mentioned this, but I'm going to say it again. I can see once they age Connor into like his teen years, I could see him actually being like the bad boy and just being the next Adam, because they're going to need a new one. And then my last thing is with Kane, I think that he really saw the actual will, and I think that it's going to become a moral battle at this point because they know that the statute, Devon told us when he did his research, that the statute of limitations basically has stated that there is no contesting the will. It's been too many years, but I think that Kane is I think that he found the real will, and I think that was the whole purpose. I think he's going to read it, and then he's going to bring it back to Genoa City, and that Devon, it's going to put him in this moral battle where he has to decide, okay, well, is it really right then, if this is the real will, that I keep this money? And I think it's going to be a battle internally with Devon, but I also think it's going to be an external battle as well. And I think that Devon might not be able to give the money up because of his business and everything he's doing, and that it's going to cause major issues between him and Kane. Kane said that he didn't want the money, but I think he's going to change his mind. And I think that's going to put him in a position, him as in Kane, in a position where he's going to start scheming to see how he can get the money. And it's going to cause bad blood between the two of them. And that's why we're going to see Lily is maybe to kind of come in as this is happening and to sort of diffuse the situation. Well, those are... Jerry Jacks also says, expect to see Nate and Elena off this show. Yeah, so we'll have to see about that. Well, on that final note, my name is Rachel Goodman. You can find me on Twitter at Rach Goodman, or on my Instagram account. It's actually my writing account at Rachel Radner Author. Also on Facebook, we have our at Restless Rap Facebook page. So if you go over, like, follow, I always post the link to the show, and any comments you leave, I will like read them out loud the following week. Also, if you are into books, I also have a book group at Rachel Radner on Facebook. And yeah, so that about sums it up for this week. I will see you all next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.